Hey, everybody. Uh, it is still Wednesday, January 17th. I'm doing 2 episodes today because there was all kinds of stuff with the E. Jean Carroll. This is Coffee with Hawk. There was all kinds of stuff with the E. Jean Carroll civil trial for damages against Fat Nixon, Little Donnie Two Scoops, Tangerine Tits, Mango Mussolini, Sharpie McBonespur yesterday and today. Had to get caught up on that. There were a bunch of other news stories that I wanted to cover. So I'm doing a second episode today. You will notice that I changed my wardrobe because I do not like to wear suits. I do not like to wear ties. I do not like to wear dress shoes, any of that stuff. But, you know, what are you going to do? So here we go. Buckle up. Round 2. Mike Johnson put on the spot. When a reporter asked him, "Do you believe that Joe Biden's presidency is God's will?" Here's what he said. "Oh, I know where you're going with this. Okay, so I said in my speech before I took the gavel that, look, I'm a Bible-believing Christian, right? Bible-believing Christian believes that what the Bible says is right. The Bible says that God is the one that raises people up in authority. I believe that God is sovereign. God said that everybody's the same to his Johnson." Wait, no, I got that wrong. Johnson said that everybody's the same to his God. "We are all given equal rights and value, blah, blah, blah. So if you believe all of those things, then you believe that God is the one that allows people to be raised in authority. So it must have been God's will, the election of Joe Biden." Next headline. "Have you lost your fucking mind?" said Steve Bannon as he ripped Mike Johnson for crediting God for Joe Biden. Oh, yo, dude, he's an illegitimate president. Have you lost your mind? The election was stolen. Okay, one more update from the E. Jean Carroll trial that's going on right now. Okay, I have seen, I have worked with, I've been in the courtroom with people who are licensed attorneys, and I've seen these people like practice law in such a way where I'm like, how? How? How did you get through law school? How did you pass a bar exam? Do you know how to tie your shoe? How do you remember to breathe? I have seen lawyers that are the dumbest people I've ever seen in my entire life. Enter Trump attorney Alina Habba. Oh God. Okay, here we go. She's Trump's lead counsel, apparently, in the E. Jean Carroll case. She was cross-examining E. Jean Carroll today and said, "Ms. Carroll, are you aware that it is illegal to delete evidence?" E. Jean Carroll's attorney objected. "I move for a mistrial. Evidence has been deleted," proclaimed attorney Habba. "Denied. The jury will disregard everything Ms. Habba just said," said Judge Lewis Kaplan, because, you know, every time Donald Trump puts something up on Truth Social about E. Jean Carroll, she gets flooded with death threats. Sometimes E. Jean Carroll deletes those because they're not fun to read. Alina Habba thinks that justifies a mistrial in a case where Donald Trump has already been found liable for defamation and rape. So, hashtag shitty lawyer. Okay. How much money Trump and his rivals spent per vote in Iowa? Okay. This article is hilarious for one reason and one reason alone. To come in second, 30 points behind Donald Trump in Iowa, a state with a 90% white population, Ron DeSantis, little tiny Ron DeSantis, spent $4,200 per vote. $4,200 per vote that he got in Iowa. Oh, God. Marjorie Taylor Greene slams abortion rights. Wait, hang on. Hey, everybody. Marjorie Taylor Greene slams abortion rights because forced births can fill jobs. Boy, ain't that right, man. Population growth problem. We got a population growth problem, so we got to have more babies. We got to have more people giving the birth to the babies. Sitting in here earlier, she said, I was listening to the discussion on jobs, and that the whole reason claimed by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle is that they want to bring in as many illegal aliens as possible. Well, that ain't no good. And give them amnesty so they can fill jobs in America, said Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then they talked about that we have a population growth problem in America. That's true. I seen that on Tucker Carlson. Well, I think we can all say that if maybe perhaps 63 million people haven't been murdered in the womb, that's how many abortions we've had in the United States, that we wouldn't have a population growth problem, would we? This is not women's reproductive rights. That's called abortion. It's murder. But Democrats claim we have got to replace Americans with illegal aliens to fill them jobs. Okay, that's their solution, and take jobs away from Americans. All right, thank you for humoring me for a moment on that. Border bill could come up next week. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told congressional leaders and President Joe Biden at the White House that his goal is the United States Senate, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell are doing this weird thing called governing. Yeah, they're doing this weird thing called, negotiating and compromising and trying to reach a resolution where one side gets some of what they want, the other side gets some of what they want, but neither side gets all of what they want. That's how Congress is supposed to work. And Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell are doing that in conjunction with negotiating with Joe Biden at the White House. Okay, so that bill's going to come up for next in the week. GOP senators tell House colleagues to take border deal. I mean, the Republicans in the Senate are so goddamn sick and tired of the Republicans in the House, because the Republicans in the House make the Republicans in the Senate look as dumb and stupid as, that's right, the Republicans in the House, because they won't negotiate on anything. They won't do anything. They won't tell anybody what they want on anything. They're just like, give us everything we want. And if you don't give us everything we want, then we're not going to do anything at all. They're just, yeah. House Republicans are fucking pathetic, man. Trump wants GOP to tank immigration deal. The Senate is doing bipartisan work. They're working with the White House. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is calling his, covenant eyes accountability buddy, Speaker Mike Johnson, and saying, hey, man, you're watching too much porn. Oh, by the way, I need you to tank that immigration bill. Mike Johnson was on Laura Ingraham, her show last night on Fox News, and Laura Ingraham said, I just got off the phone with former President Trump before my show, and he said that he called you and told you that you should tank that bill that's coming out of the Senate. And then Mike Johnson was like, yeah, I talked to President Trump yesterday, and he told me that he wants me to tank that bill that's coming. It's like, oh, we're so fucked, man. We're so fucked. Okay, Mike Johnson can absolutely expect to be toppled. Oh, for a second there, I thought that said topped. Sorry, wrong headline. House Freedom Caucus members are joining a growing number of GOP hardliners, putting Mike Johnson on notice that his job could be on the line if he doesn't do more to secure conservative priorities. Yeah, what do you think conservative priorities are? That's right, Grindr. Mike Johnson is plagued by GOP leaks. Speaker Mike Johnson complained about members airing their grievances. I mean, Festivus was last month. That was the time for the airing of the grievances along with the feats of strength. That was last month during Festivus. That doesn't happen during January. Airing grievances to the media at a private conference Wednesday morning, blah, blah, blah. Essentially what happened was Mike Johnson said to a bunch of Republicans that Mike Johnson is very upset that all of these Republicans keep leaking things that Mike Johnson says to the press. And so he said to a private conference full of Republican members, I'm Mike Johnson, stop leaking what I say to you during these meetings. Immediately following that meeting, over a dozen Republicans who had attended that meeting leaked the contents of that meeting to the media. Okay, Donald Trump eyes Elise Stefanik as a potential running mate. Yeah, Elise Stefanik. Hang on. Who, while there are still, I don't know, over 100 hostages being held inside the Gaza Strip, recently described those January 6th insurrectionists who are awaiting trial in the DC jail as hostages, and those people who have been convicted or pleaded guilty to crimes that they committed at the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. She described them as hostages too. And that got little Donnie Two Scoops tugging on one of his own nipples, and he was like, "Oh God, you want to be my vice president? Oh God, yeah, oh yeah, you want to be VP? Oh God." So he's considering her to be vice president, which, you know, that should be fucking star-spangled awesome. Quote of the day from Mitt Romney: "You had a jury that said that Donald Trump had raped a woman, and yet I don't think that seems to be moving the needle." Well, I mean, whose needle are we talking about, Mitt? There are a lot of things about today's electorate that I don't understand. No shit, Mitt. You're in your fucking 70s and you wear magic underwear. Speaking of underwear, okay, so there's a guy who used to be an advisor to Bill and Hillary Clinton while they were president, a guy named Dick Morris. And then he went crazy and he went full MAGA. And so he was being interviewed on Newsmax last night. He's married, he lives with his wife, and he was appearing on Zoom for this interview from his home. And while he was live on Newsmax in his home that he shares with his wife, who he's married to, a great big dude in his underwear just came walking through the shot. No kink shaming, but it's like, dude, I'm on cable, man. I mean, come on, go through the kitchen. Jesus Christ. We talked about this. If I'm on live television on cable and you're going to come through in your underpants, just go through the kitchen so nobody can see you. Okay. Just take the long way. Okay. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Mike Johnson, we're coming back around to Mike Johnson, urges Louisiana to ignore a court order. Trigger warning for just some fucking full-on blatant evangelical MAGA God-fearing Christian fucking racism right here. Okay. Mike Johnson is urging the Louisiana legislature and GOP Governor Jeff Landry to ignore a court order requiring the state to draw a second Black majority congressional district in the state of Louisiana to be, I don't know, more representative of the population demographics of the state. Because he doesn't want to create an additional district that might elect a black person to Congress. Because, for Mike Johnson, God-fearing, good, solid, hardworking Christian evangelical man that he is, thinks there's already too many black people in Congress. Yeah. Okay. Cocaine found on Hunter Biden's gun pouch. And no, gun pouch is not a euphemism for where he stores his massive hog leg. That thing is the size of a baby's forearm. Just ask Marjorie Taylor Greene. All right. So Hunter Biden bought a handgun while he was on drugs. He owned the gun for 11 days. Apparently, he kept the gun in a gun pouch. He never loaded the gun. He never fired the gun. And then his girlfriend or wife at the time threw the gun pouch containing the gun into a dumpster where it was discovered by aliens who immediately gave it to Rudy Giuliani. I'm kidding. And it made its way to the FBI or whoever. And now, like 7 years later, they're saying, hey, we found cocaine on the gun pouch. What should we do about the cocaine on the gun pouch? Who the fuck knows, man? Kentucky lawmaker proposes bill that would let cousins have sex legally. I'm not kidding. Kentucky State Representative Nick Wilson, who is famous for having been on the TV show Survivor, and based on his success on the TV show Survivor, was like, I should run for government. And he did. And the people of Kentucky were like, hey, that guy was on the Survivor. We should put that guy in the state legislature. He was on the TV. Marge, he was on the TV. He's going in the government. Yeah, so they elected him. He introduced a bill this week, and he did this on purpose. This was not an accident. He introduced a bill this week intended to broaden the definition of forbidden sexual activity between blood relatives, making it legal for first cousins to have sex with each other. That's right. You got it. Unless they're gay. There you go. Yeah, unless they're gay. Because the gay sex is always illegal in Kentucky. But it is not illegal in Kentucky to have sex with farm animals. Admitted Representative Wilson, that's a terrible fucking sentence structure. It should say, Representative Wilson admitted, I made a mistake and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to stop fucking my cousin. That last part I made up. He didn't say that last part. That's a joke. Just, fucking hell. This is terrible. Okay, we're going to close out with some terrible news. Supreme Court justices appear skeptical of agency's regulatory power. Okay, that was a United States Supreme Court case that was heard today in oral argument where the United States Supreme Court is going to completely dismantle the executive branch of the federal government and do away with every single federal agency's ability to regulate anything. Yeah. It's gonna be bad. Okay, I can't leave you guys on that note, so let's do this. All right, now, so I hope that everybody had an amazing Wednesday, and I hope that the rest of your week goes extremely well, and that you, such as me, want to make America great again. I mean, because who does not want America to be great again? I mean, am I right? Now, come on now. If America's great, that's awesome. I mean, if America's not great, then that ain't no good. That ain't no good. That just ain't no good. Okay, all right. I hope everybody has an amazing evening and rest of your week. This is Cleetus P. Twatwaffle signing off.